This is the first time that I can ever lead an episode with the phrase a goaltender scored a goal against the Buffalo Sabres, and honestly didn't just stop at that. He had a 2 point night as well. It feels weird to say. It's kind of the thing you don't want to bring up, but at the same time, it's probably a once in a lifetime thing. So I think that's just what I'm going to lead with for now.
Was that the first time that's ever happened against us?
I think so.
It's got to be, right? I don't remember. I was there for the game too. I was, man,
You always find yourselves at these.
tough, tough luck this year
Well,
with the
isn't it like
games,
it's the
guys.
first time in NHL history that a goalie's had a goal and an assist, right? So it's definitely the first time for that.
Alex Nedeljkovic is back, folks.
Apparently, he's the next Penguins goaltender with voodoo magic.
He's gunning for the Hart Trophy.
I wonder if
Watch
he's
out.
considered to be on a hot streak like Dylan Cousins the other night.
You think he wins the Art Ross?
If he stays hot, then maybe.
God damn, dude. I mean,
Never ends,
God
bro.
damn.
Never fucking ends. Oh, excuse my language.
Oh,
And I couldn't watch the game at the moment, so I had to find that out via box score or like the NHL notification. So like they screw those up all the time. Like they'll say like somebody scored when it was really like their line mate, or it could be somebody completely random. So when I saw Alex Nedeljkovic, I'm like, "There's no way, right? Right?
Nope, you were wrong.
There was a way."
I mean, there's nothing like an intermission when your buddy next to you turns and goes, "There's no way," and I have no idea what he's about to say to me, and the Sabres got scored on by Nedeljkovic.
Dude, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I was heading down the escalator when that happened. And
You
and I
left.
stopped.
Oh my
I
God!
stopped.
Come
Stop.
Guys,
on, you
guys, I
could have went
stopped. It
three.
was they scored and I was watching it on the big screen they have in the walkway in the 100s.
You had the
Me
stream
and
delay.
yeah, no, so it was me, my girlfriend, and then two other guys were just watching the TV and we're just looking up and we see this happening. And then out of nowhere, just the roar of the crowd that came through that walkway of the tunnel right by us. We were just like, that did not just happen. We just looked at each other. We're like, all right, we're getting out of here. And just walked out like it didn't even happen. But it was a interesting afternoon. Props to Penguins fans though. I give them a shout out. They're a great crowd. They're way better than Leafs fans by a mile.
You got to stop like shutting games off early. Like you're missing all the good stuff.
I'm hoping I keep doing it and the good stuff starts happening for us. Like, this is going
It's
to
not.
turn
It's
at
not
some
working.
point.
It's not working so
It
far.
did work for the um when Ryan McLeod got his hat trick. All I'm saying, guys, hey, Jonah, big McLeod fan. It did
I mean,
work.
I'll say keep it up, Christian. I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks, buddy. And protecting my mental
Maybe
health a
one
little
day,
bit.
maybe one day we'll get a Devin Levi like toe drag, empty net goal or something.
All I'm saying is sometimes you gotta, take one for your own team. You're watching the game. It's like my fifth or sixth straight game I've gone to where they've lost. I'm just like, gotta save the mental health a little bit. All right. It's a marathon. This drought is
Do
a
what's best
marathon.
for
It's not a
you.
sprint. It's a marathon.
Folks, welcome back to another episode of the Sabre Roundtable. My name is Jonah.
I'm Christian.
And I'm Jesse. I haven't got to say that yet.
And as always, we will be talking to you about all things Buffalo Sabres hockey and even a little bit of the wider NHL. We are coming at you before puck drop against the Vancouver Canucks, so this episode will be slightly outdated, but will it though? Will it really? Is it really going to be outdated?
What's going to change from now and if we record it at 2 in the morning? Nothing.
What possibly could happen in this game that would warrant us to talk about it? Like, is there some
Elias
crazy
Pettersson
brewing
trade.
It's
before
funny
the
how
game?
it's funny how the Sabres over the years it's become a joke that losing to them will then force a team to fire their coach the next day. So maybe it's the same principle, but for JT Miller to be shipped out of town.
The Sabres could cause a catastrophic event to happen in the NHL if they win tonight. Because you've seen it in years past. It has happened. But does this mean that Elias Pettersson is going to be sticking around in Vancouver at this point? It looks like JT Miller might be the one going out the door.
I think the dream is dead unless we smuggle him out of there tonight.
We got to kidnap him.
Just set up his stall with a Sabres jersey instead and see what happens.
It was always a pipe dream.
Leave like breadcrumbs leading to the Sabres locker room with some like Swedish delicacies. Ooh, piece
A
of
bunch
candy.
of Swedish
Ooh,
fish on the
Piece of
ground.
candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Anyways, we will be recapping a little bit about the Sabres' previous two games, the aforementioned contest against the Pittsburgh Penguins, Monday afternoon's matchup against the Seattle Kraken. We'll give you our concernometers. We obviously we're coming at you on a Tuesday, not our Sunday. Schedule's a bit wonky. Sabres After Dark's taking place this week. The football team is also kind of playing still, so that's something to keep your eyes on. So we're going to be all over the place the next 2, 3, hopefully 4 weeks. 3 weeks, right? Super Bowl, 3 weeks?
Yeah,
Hopefully.
3 weeks.
Hopefully.
3
So,
weeks. Yeah.
So yeah. After that, dive a little bit into some NHL talk, and then we have another game scheduled. This time it's Jesse organizing the blind ranking.
I wanted Christian to get in on the fun that I experienced last time. I don't think it was fair to him that he had to organize, so I threw a little something together today, and I hope he experiences the same amount of joy that I experienced in the jersey one that he put together. So
I appreciate that. I think I'm gonna have a great time doing this.
All right, so to jump right into this, the Sabres kickoff, I guess not kickoff, but the last game that they played, the first game that they played since we'd recorded was a Friday night matchup against the Pittsburgh Penguins. The final score was 5-2. Do you want me to remind you what the shots were in that game, or do you have it down by memory?
I could use a refresher.
Wasn't it like 47-18 or something?
It was not that insane. The Buffalo Sabres outshot the Penguins 42-19.
42-19. Okay. Again, being there, they had their opportunities. Alex Nedeljkovic was just on another planet, I guess. And also, they took way too many penalties, and they couldn't run the penalty kill.
The night started off good. Owen Power with a power play snipe. Actually, believe it or not, his first power play point of the entire season, which is nuts. Nuts. It feels like even the worst power play quarterbacks can trudge along a bad secondary assist here and there, and yet Owen Power has one power play point through 4 months. After that, though, the Pittsburgh Penguins start the second period. Back-to-back goals, 2 goals in 39 seconds by Raquel and Beauvillier. Cody Glass would add another power play goal later that period, and then Brian Rust would score another power play goal heading into the third. And before the eventual Alex Nedeljkovic empty netter, Benson would make it a game, make it 4-2. But then Alex Nedeljkovic would make national headlines as the first goaltender to score a goal and get in a assist in the same game. So another rock bottom moment that is honestly will get lost in the shuffle this season. That is like not even a top 5 worst moment of the year.
Not even close, to be honest with you. A lot of the situation that happened in that Penguins game would, for half the organization in this league, would be like, all right, we got to rethink what's going on here because this is bad. For us, it's like Tuesday,
Friday night matchup. Yep.
Yeah, just a little bit of fun.
Normal. So I think it's probably time we had like the goaltending talk, especially given the Kraken game followed this up. So we kind of mentioned 19 shots by the Penguins. 4 of them went in the net. Actually, I'm guessing that shot counts the empty netter. So Luukkonen would have been 14 of 18 that night. That's not good by your starting goaltender. And it's kind of been a trend this season. Like it's starting to lose them games. Like they lost that game because Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen got outplayed by Alex Nedeljkovic. And then Monday night, Devin Levi, I would say kind of lost that game for the Sabres. He could not make a save when the team needed it. It's like it's another little twist on this season. It's like even last year, the goaltending was so good in holding them in games, and this year it's not even like, hey, it's getting enough done. Now it's sort of the opposite, where you're starting to watch more losses trickle in that you probably say to yourself, if only we would have gotten a save or two in that one, maybe things would be a bit differently.
What do you think the outlook for this goaltender situation is? Because they can't keep both of them. Like when your organization is in this situation and you desperately need help in other departments, I feel like one of the two of them is a good, trade piece to just, maybe package in with a bigger deal. If theoretically the Sabres are a serious organization and they were making a buy move, who do you
Which one would
think
you
who do you
move
think
on
who do you think
from?
carries the more who do you think carries more value? UPL or Devin
Oh
Levi?
my God, how much value do goal like how many times are goalies headliners in trades?
I'm not saying a headliner. I'm not
Like
saying a headliner.
what did one season removed from a Vesna Linus Allmark gets the Bruins? A backup goaltender, a late first round pick, and Mark Kastelik, so like a fourth line player. They don't fetch you much, and I feel like Levi even is. I don't know. I feel like a small goaltender is just not going to be valued much. It's almost like I don't know. You don't have right now there's really no better option. Obviously, Luukkonen has done more in the NHL, like a lot more. He's done a lot more. He put together a Vezina caliber season last year, but um, at the same time, it's I don't know. With Luukkonen, like the organization's never going to give them benefit of the doubt. I mean, Levi's like why did this team reclaim James Reimer? Like what is the point? What's the point?
Because they know that both of them to succeed need a massive workload in whichever league they're playing in. So they want a guy sitting on the bench who's gonna maybe sub in 15 games a year, and then you make
What's he
your
subbed in
decision.
3 games?
Well, even yeah, I mean, let's say theoretically over in a perfect situation, which is probably what they were thinking at the beginning of the year was UPL was going to play 60 games, 65 games. Reimer was going to play maybe, I don't know, 15 to 16, 17. And then they were going to keep Levi in the AHL. That's the reason they reclaimed him. They didn't want Devin Levi sitting behind UPL because it wasn't, quote, good for his development. So where do you go from here?
I don't know because neither of them are giving you anything right now, and
I,
I don't know.
I,
It's hard to evaluate an entire roster that's just on a consistent downswing.
correct. Yeah,
Consistent.
I was gonna say the
How do
exact
you
same
evaluate
thing.
anybody at this
Right.
rate?
I was gonna say like UPL and Levi, this is the worst time to make that type of decision on either of them, just because, everything's in the tank right now. This people keep complaining about that there's no change in this organization. Like throughout the season, there's been one move and it's been reclaiming James Reimer. We're almost in February, guys. Does it matter anymore? Do you really what move? I feel like a move now would just be an insult. Just ride the season out and just reevaluate in the off season.
Hey, don't talk down the Colton Pullman trade from a few weeks back.
So I apologize, Colton Pullman. But do you agree with that? Like, don't you think a trade at this point would be like more of an insult if it was a buy move? Like, I get if you're going to
I don't
sell at
know
the deadline.
what's the bigger insult. Like the fact that, you said this without smiling, smirking. You said it stern at the camera that the only move that an organization that is on pace for less than 70 points, 14 years into a drought, has made in the course of 6 months is claiming a 37-year-old goaltender on waivers. Like
Who they
that's
already had acquired in the offseason.
what they already had. It's an insane statement. It's an insane statement, and it's just the numbness to it all that you've just become so accustomed to. It's Like this is the worst. Like this, I hate this period we're in right now. Nobody's watching games. Everybody's attention is on other obvious things,
For
and
good reason though.
for
Like
good
even if the
for good
Sabres were good,
reason.
like for good reason.
For good reason. But it's also like losses are just piling up. They're just happening. It's like it's weird. Like we're gonna getting into the Seattle game. Like it was weirdly like a breaking point for Lindy Ruff because he was talking post game about like how the conditioning was bad, that the physical play wasn't there, and then he didn't bag escape them this morning, but he had them running like a normal practice on the day of a game, which just never happens for obvious reasons. And it's just so weird that like that's the breaking point, but at the same time, like I guess I don't know. It's like you're in a routine. Like I said at the end of the last episode, you're in the worst part of the season where you're just waiting for the trade deadline, right? Like you've gone through this cycle so many times. Deadlines force decisions, and the Sabres just have no deadlines right now. The owner isn't anywhere within a 50-mile radius of the team, and not that he usually is.
He's in Orchard Park right now.
He's in Orchard Park
He was
right
in the
now.
locker room after the Bills game.
Yeah, I saw him on the sideline. I was in the middle of watching the game. I'm in my apartment. It was just me and my girlfriend. We're just sitting on the couch watching the game. And then he comes on screen because he's taking a picture on the sideline with someone, or he was doing a giveaway or something. And I just looked at the screen and I go, I hate that man. She's like, she looks at me and she's like, aren't you involved in the game? I'm like, I hate that man.
There is like thousands, millions of people tuning in to watch that game. And I would say like a couple hundred are all having that same reaction just rise up in them, just at disgust. Yep. Yeah, it's not fun. It's really not, because like even like discussing the team has become a routine of like it's almost like what's new about the I guess other than the goaltending conversation, like what's new? Like there's no point in almost going into like, yep, Jack Quinn is still turning it over, getting outmuscled pretty easily. I mean, he scored the other day, but the other team put it in the net for him. Same thing with like Dylan Cousins, and
Yep.
it was fun to see Thompson score. That was automatic given the mistakes of that day.
Predictable.
I hope he threw money down on that because it was the one scripted thing you knew what was coming.
I wish I had that foresight.
I was telling you about it. You had to have.
I didn't, and that's such a stupid mistake on my part. But I gotta say, Dylan Cousins is probably the most disappointing player I've seen all season. Just he's just a shell of himself.
Guess the
He
new
looks
skates
like a
weren't working.
dude. Yeah, he looks like a rookie, dude. With just he's getting just. I barely see him win a puck battle, whether it's on the boards or if it's in the neutral zone. Can't keep the puck on his stick. Just the passes make you scratch your head. Even sitting in the arena, like him and oh God, Samuelson too, dude. Like just that Penguins game in the
Samuelson,
arena.
Jokiharju were rough.
Oh my
against
God,
the
dude.
Penguins, man. So bad.
I was sitting next to a stranger and we both had the same visceral reaction when we saw Samuelson make like 3 passes. We were like, oh my God, what was that?
Well, that's kind of the issue with like talking about like not making moves and like trying to move on from these guys. Like I kind of let you guys just kind of crash out over the goalies there, but like what teams are seeing like UPL and Levi and then like guys that we'd be open to moving on from, like Cousins and Samuelson, and like what teams are seeing them play like this and they're like, yeah, I want to pick up these guys for my playoff push.
It's more like they look at the team they're playing for and it's like, okay, well that guy's not going to be like that when they're here, which is it's probably true.
Right.
It's I mean for some, I mean I don't want to say it's 1-to-1. I mean we've seen Jeff Skinner has completely has not worked out in Edmonton. Casey Middlestat has not been working in Colorado. In one of their, I don't know if it was one of their beat reporters or somebody who just covers the team, they were saying that he wouldn't be surprised if Middlestat was on the trade block. I mean, Mikko Rantanen is playing second line center for them right now. It's not automatic that a Sabres player is going to work somewhere, but you know, teams are going to have that perception. I mean, if you're looking at, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like another, like if they were to trade for somebody from Chicago, like it's you're going to look at that and be like, okay, maybe they're struggling, but when we bring them over here away from that situation, they're going to thrive. And when you look at somebody like Dylan Cousins, who scored 30 goals, near 70 points 2 years ago, teams are going to they're going to bite on the upside, but sell on the low. And that's why no moves have been made. It's kind of frustrating, although I don't know. Like I said,
At the same time, don't you think it's kind of smart? Like,
oh, it's hard. Obviously, it's like
they're
it's
not,
like going
they're
after
not,
Pettersson right now, right? Because he's like, you look at Pettersson and it's like, look, the guy's not having a good season. The owners called him out multiple times. Point production's down, speed metrics are down. There's injury concerns, but you look at that and you're like, okay, well, 2 years ago he was this guy, and even last year he was this guy. But at the same time, it's like 2 years ago, are you trading Dylan Cousins and Bowen Byram hypothetically and like maybe getting better? No, absolutely not. You'd be trading like bar minimum Owen Power plus. So it's, I don't know. It's that game of cat and mouse that you see so often, and it's just, I don't know. It's frustrating, but I also I don't have any fear about it anymore. It's like watching these games, watching like the same routine, the soulless hockey, the just the dead. I mean, it's funny. It's January, and I'm calling this the dead season, but it's the dead season, and it's like I just don't I don't care if they trade Cousins and Quinn, and I know some people are nervous about that. Like I know there's a lot of people nervous about trading Cousins, and it's like I don't feel like we've lived through this.
We've been hurt before, guys.
It's not even that they've been. Well, it's that we've been hurt before. But it's like, okay, you traded Eichel, O'Reilly, Reinhart. You traded all these guys. We're still here, right? The world did not stop. They had incredibly successful runs. Eichel nearly won a Conn Smythe. O'Reilly won a Conn Smythe, and Sam Reinhart, he's like the worst case scenario. He's a guy underrated in Buffalo, was always very solid, goes to a cup contender and becomes a superstar. You're still here. You've had good seasons, right? Like last year was a disappointing season. You were still a winning hockey team. The season before was the best in 15 years. And you'll live. And all of those guys, Eichel, Reinhart, Risto, like it or not, Kevin Adams did a decent job with those trades. He did a decent job. He got at least one thing that is the Eichel trade. You got Tuck. You got a first round pick that's, remains to be seen with Noah Ostlund, but the second round pick was used to get Greenway. Krebs has at least been a solid fourth liner, but you got Tuck. It's something to build on. The Reinhart trade, which is so lopsided in the Panthers' direction. Yuri Kulik is going to be a great player. He's really good right now. And even with Ristolainen, you got a first round pick for that guy. It's I just don't have any fear. I really don't. It's they could trade anybody. They could do, other than Rasmus Dahlin, they could trade Tage Thompson right now. And it's I would be holy shit, I don't have a good feeling, but I would still look at my phone. I would still look at the trade return. I would still look to see what they got. I really don't have any fear. And I know this is me calling for, it's not me calling for a fire sale. It's just, I don't care who's on the trade block. I don't care who it is. It's Adams look at the Barroom trade. That was this type of trade, and it's pretty much worked out pretty damn well. And is there a trade that Kevin Adams has solely lost besides the Reinhart trade? I would say, or I'm talking about lopsided. It's not even close. It the Sabres just came out on the worst end of everything. Because you can bring up the Eichel trade. You got Alex Tuck. You can bring up the Reinhart trade, sure, but you still got something. You got a 20-year-old center who looks really, really good. I don't know. I guess that's my whole spiel, but It's it just doesn't fear me, and it's I just hate that, we're here again. We're here at the mid-January Blues of already being, I mean, they're 17, 24, and 5, man. 17, 24, and 5.
How many losses did they have in the 22-23 season? And they have like
Oh, man. Probably like 31
30 something.
something, 33, 34, I don't know. Somewhere
But
up there.
no, I agree with you. It feels like it's a sense of numbness, but at the same time, you're dead last in the East. Are you gonna if someone does get traded? I would get upset if Tage got traded or
I'm
Darlene.
not saying he should get traded.
Any
I'm just
well,
saying, like,
I know, but
but genuinely, like, I would,
anyone else,
it would
like
scare me. I'd be like, they're probably not going to win this trade, but I would open
it
my
is what it
phone.
is.
I would read the trade details. Like, I would look to see what they got because the world moves on, and it just these trades are usually never so one-sided. I mean, look
You
at the
got
friggin'
yeah.
look at the friggin' Eric Carlson trade from Ottawa to San Jose. People thought the Sens got fleeced, and they ended up with Stützle and Norris and all these things. I don't know.
It
It
takes
is what it
time
is.
for a trade to develop over the years. But here we
Yeah.
are again, sitting in January
Well, and here's the other thing
in the
too.
basement.
It's also like if the Sabres were to hire, like if Kevin Adams does get fired and um they bring in someone else, or I don't know, hire, maybe this doesn't apply to a Carmanos hire situation, but if they were to fire him and bring in someone else, like look at what the Leafs did last 2 years. What happened at the end of their seasons? When Kyle Dubas was ready to trade one of the core four. New guy got brought in, waited it out, wanted to see how things were going. Nobody was moved. They ran it back. Last season, new CEO of Maple Leafs Entertainment or Leafs Entertainment or whatever,
MLS.
MLS Sports. New guy comes in, doesn't make any changes because he just got there. They run it back, and here we are. If how many times does like a new GM come in and just fire sale everybody? Doesn't feel like it's very often.
Yeah, they want to assess the talent they have there. But the problem with this team is you could just see it on paper from the season before that something needs to change. This isn't a Maple Leaf situation where you're coming off of a playoff team. This is more of a situation of like, okay,
Yeah.
who am I moving on from immediately to make this team better in the off season going into next season.
All right, I think that's enough rambling trade talk for now. Probably enough Sabres talk for now. Before we get off of them, concernometers. Christian, I'll let you start things off. It's America's favorite segment. On a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you about just the Sabres as a whole? What's the vibes?
It's tough because I keep hovering around like that 10 range. What was I last time? 9.9.
Yeah, I think we got you
Um,
down a little bit.
I feel like the expectations are gone. So what's there to be concerned about anymore? I'm gonna drop down to like a 7. Wow.
Wow.
Seriously, like
Living life on the edge.
what's there to be concerned about? Let's just go with a 7. It's the most average answer, basically, other than a 5. But like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a reason people do the 1 to 10 scale. They're like, oh, you can't choose 7, blah blah blah. I'm just gonna pick 7.
Jesse, Mr. Optimist,
Oh,
you were very quiet
I
throughout that very negative conversation. So
I feel nothing after just listening to what you guys just ranted about. Like I really had nothing to really add, and just like I kind of feel like I'd feel a little bit more concerned now. And just I think I was at a 2.2 for Jack Quinn last time, and I think I'm gonna go up to a 3.9 for Alex Nedeljkovic, and just I don't know. I don't really have much to add with what you guys just went on about. So I'm
we're
a
getting
little
to
bit
him.
more concerned than last time.
We're getting to him. That score is slowly going up. Yeah, it's boring, but I don't know. Bad vibes all around this past week. I'm just gonna raise it back up to a 10. So, what was I at last week? Didn't you whittle my number down?
Yeah, I think you were down. You were down like maybe in the eighth
Yeah.
somewhere.
Well, I was feeling good after a McLeod hat trick, which, by the way, now he's hurt too. So
Oh, don't
even
get started on
even
that.
the one guy I look forward to watching on a nightly basis, just ripped right out of the lineup. So also,
Damn
you
it.
want to we didn't really touch on the Seattle game, but Yuri Kulik's return to the lineup. Nothing like going from injured and placed on IR to first line center.
They're just trying to ease him back into it.
It looked good. Like it looked really, really good. It's just funny, man.
Just get
So
their feet
funny.
wet again.
Hey,
First line time.
I think you might be finding your cousin's replacement here
Yeah.
if you trade him. Too bad he
How
signed
would
to
you
a
feel?
$7 million contract.
How would you feel that going into year 15, which that's a loaded statement. Year 15, the second line center is 21 years old.
Well, I'd hope he isn't the second line center if we were a serious organization and spent in free agency.
Are they though?
It's a
No,
big
they're
if.
not. Of course not. I'm just saying though, like that would be any normal operating organization would be like, hey, Cousins didn't work out. We got this great guy, Yuri Kulik. He could be on our third line center. We have McLeod for the fourth. Let's go out. Let's go into the offseason. Let's go find a new first line. Let's move Tage down to the second because he's hurt sometimes. Let's go find that next superstar for this team. No, we don't do that. We will move him to the second line. Tage will stay on the first line. If they trade Cousins, it'll be for a bag of sticks and pucks, and we press on into year 16.
I think you saw with McLeod that like at points he can be fine in that second line center role. It's just not a continuous thing. So I think like a Thompson, Kulik, McLeod spine, while it's shaky ground, it could work. You would just have to reallocate your resources to other things like a top six forward or two, getting Owen Power defense partner. But it's all pointless to talk about. We're talking about reallocating money towards other things. I mean, come on. This ain't our first rodeo.
Come on, guys.
You still have to update the shade of blue around the arena. I'm seeing every time.
And the floor.
Or,
This is how we win.
The swamp green.
Hey, no, it works for Bandits Land.
It
That's
probably
maybe
does.
why- yeah.
It probably that's what it's for. They're keeping it around for Buffalo's real winning team.
Buffalo's team.
Buffalo's real key
5-0. 5.
They don't have attendance issues, I'll tell you that.
No, they do
don't.
not.
They do not. They do not.
For an NLL team, and you know how bad you have to be as a hockey organization around here. Hockey is the city's
And we
first
just ignore
sport.
that. Like we just continue on with our lives. I don't think anybody's
Yeah.
brought it up. Like it just is a thing. Like
Yeah.
I
The
think it
Islanders are
seriously
having
is, like-
problems.
Like one Bandits ticket's like 3 Sabres games. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So Christian, do you think you're gonna stay awake for puck drop tonight?
I'll watch the first 10 minutes, and if it goes poorly, it's going off immediately, and I'm going right to bed. And then I'll wake up at 2 a.m. just to see what the final score was, and then go right back to bed. Man, I can't even enjoy Sabres after dark anymore, man. It's like,
You're an old man, man.
no, it's
You're an
not
old
like
man.
it's not. I am an old man. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying like enjoy it as in like, oh, I can't wait to watch this game at late night hockey. It's gonna be great. I don't even give a shit.
What about Thursday? 9 o'clock puck drop?
Thinking about it.
He will extend his tryout to 15 minutes instead of the first 10.
I like that.
Okay.
Maybe the first period if I'm feeling a little.
Ooh,
Yeah.
very nice.
I'll still end up falling asleep anyway. Honestly, even if the team was good, like when we were out west when we won those 3 games in a row, like it'd be like the second period. I'd just be watching and then I'd fall asleep, wake up 10 minutes later. Oh shit, they tied it. What the hell? And
You
then I'd
miss
fall
all
back
the good
asleep
stuff.
again.
This is like your thing. You miss every good thing that you could be leaving the arena, shutting the TV off, or just completely conked out and just gone.
So what I'm hearing is to expect a crazy game after the 10-minute mark today.
Yes. You're going to see some real action.
I'm in. I'm in.
Would not surprise me if Christian was asleep for the entire TikTok ban. Because that it went into effect at like 11:30 on, what was it, Saturday night, and then stopped at like 10 in the morning. So
No, I was up for that because
I think you're just saying that.
I had my brother up here and we were. What game was on Saturday? The two divisional games that were on Saturday. I think the Lions game was on, and then I think right after the game ended and when they left, tried to go in and it didn't work. Or you texted me and you're like, "Oh, it's gone." I was just like, "Oh, no way."
I didn't know what to do with myself, honestly. Had
I
zero
don't-
clue.
I don't go on TikTok. It didn't
You're
affect
missing
me.
out, man. I can't.
I got Reels, bro.
Dude,
Fine.
Dude,
I
Reels
just bought
are-
into Reels now, man.
No,
I'm
dude,
a Reels
Reels
guy
is
now.
chill, bro.
Reels
It's
is
fun.
like-
Reels
dude,
guy.
Reels is like the McDonald's of social media apps. Like it's you get what you want right away, but it's just so taxing over time. And I hate there's like there's no filter for it. You just go and like you could get anything. And by anything you could
that's
get
the
best
best.
part.
you could
That's
get
the best part.
anything.
What about, hold on, let me say something even more controversial. My second choice is YouTube Shorts.
Oh my god, that's just
Is that even worse?
terrible.
I don't think
Isn't
I've ever given
JP a
those
big
go.
YouTube Shorts guy?
JP is a huge YouTube Shorts guy, and that just fits him so well. Like
What don't you like about YouTube Shorts? Is it the UI?
it's like TikTok and Reels, but like light. Like there's so much less. Like you don't have like the hilarious unfilteredness of Reels, but you also you do not have like the navigation or like good algorithm of TikTok. You get the worst of both worlds.
So it's the Burger King of social media and shorts.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
What would
So,
you consider TikTok? What, like Chick-fil-A or something?
I would just call TikTok the LeBron James of social media
Okay.
apps.
So we got Burger King, McDonald's, and LeBron James.
No,
That's
I mean
our-
like McDonald's is a pretty good comparison. I mean like it's good when you're drunk, you know. Reels kind of feels like the drunk social media app. Unfiltered. Not healthy for you. I see. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
very it gets you after a while. If, you can take one comment section, maybe the next, maybe the
God.
one after that. Then it's like the fourth one. All right, I'm not surrounded by good people.
It gets it's bad.
It's funny. I was
I
looking.
haven't had
Go
the
ahead.
nerve to comment on anything. I would just be like, I just look at them. I'm just like, Jesus. And then you go on to the next one.
They're evil
Well,
people. man.
the fact that it shows you who liked it in the bottom too, so people are really getting exposed now. You can see who.
Well,
what
yeah,
your
the
friends really
algorithm
think.
recommends what your friends are liking. So your friends could be liking the most like heinous stuff, and
Yeah,
it'll pop up. They'll be like, oh, like Mark liked this, and it's showing up on my For You page. Now I know a
And
little
it's
bit something more about
crazy.
Mark.
You got to be careful with the likes on Instagram
Yeah,
Reels.
I don't think I'm liking any reels, but
No,
I'll,
me
I'll see
neither.
what everyone else is. I'll see what everyone else is doing.
Unless it's like a funny reel, like just like a hilarious one, then you give it the like. As long as it's not
I'm in.
bad,
I'm
you
in
give
on
it the
this
like
Reels thing,
just to keep the algorithm up. But if it gets bad, like down a wrong rabbit hole, you just got to scroll through it and just not touch anything.
I can't.
That short 10 hours without TikTok made me a reels guy now. I'm in.
I'm glad you've
Me
come to
and
the
you,
dark
Christian.
side, Jesse. You've come to the dark side.
We,
I like that.
we should do a show without Jonah because it seems like me and you agree. on a lot.
Oh,
The
wow.
McDonald's of the Sabre
Yeah,
Report.
the McDonald's of podcasts. Just ramble about our favorite reels that we saw the day before.
It's fun-
that thing gets canceled so quick.
It's funny that the Family Guy clip is going around right now. Like when TikTok was dying about like, it's from the famous like house invasion episode where they're all hiding in the vault upstairs, and right before they're about to like drown in this vault, Peter goes, since we're all gonna die here, I have one more thing I would like to share with you. And he's like, I did not care for The Godfather, and it's one of the best bits in the show's history. But it he uses the phrase, it insists upon itself, and I think that's how I feel about reels. It insists
It
upon itself.
insists upon itself.
What does that even mean? It insists upon itself.
If it has a valid point to make, it's insisting. It's like I never even seen the ending. What?
You've never seen the ending? It's funny. I was looking at our demographics for the year 2024. Like, we have a good chunk that are like, it's like 35 to 45-year-olds watching and even older. So they're completely lost with the last 2 minutes of this conversation. So I apologize.
If you want to skip through it.
We can get them hooked on reels if we keep selling it to them.
Time codes are in the descriptions, folks. So you can skip this if you want. All right, let's hop into some NHL news. So we talked about it a little bit at the start. JT Miller was seemingly almost traded to the New York Rangers and is still in Vancouver for now, but it seems like this is sort of a foregone conclusion, which is a pretty huge development from like what we've been talking to over the last few weeks. We didn't know which of the Canucks players would be chosen, whether it was him or Pettersson, and it seems to be JT Miller on the way out.
Didn't see this one coming. I thought it was going to be Pettersson. The writing just seemed to be on the wall.
Yeah, it seems like Pettersson told the team that he doesn't want to be traded. So the dream is dead for now. But it sounded like Miller was going to be traded to the Rangers for, I think they said it was going to be Hedl and Lindgren, and I don't know, maybe another piece or two. So that would have been interesting. There was also the Carolina rumor that he was maybe going to go for, it was Kokeniemi and who was the other player? It was Kokeniemi and someone else. So that would have been interesting. And then like the Devils have been supposedly hovering around, and with the Simon Nemec rumors I don't know, it's all percolating, it's all interesting stuff, but still it's funny. I see Vancouver fans on my Twitter every now and then. It's like JT Miller could be on a plane to another state, and I still wouldn't believe he's been traded because there's been so many false flag rumors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had to scroll through all our reels that we've sent to find this quote, but when the head coach is saying he's struggling, it seems like every time he's on the ice, something bad happens. I think the focus level has to get a little higher about an alternate captain, first liner. Like, it's not good. It's not a good sign for that guy sticking around. So
that is Rick Tocchet on JT Miller, that specific quote. Yeah, when your head coach is saying when bad things are happening when he's on the ice, it's generally not a good sign. So we will see where that one continues. Obviously, Miller is going to be presumably in the lineup against the Sabres. So, like I said, could be the last game he ever suits up for. Would be fitting.
Would you do a Cousins for JT Miller 1-for-1?
I don't think so. I don't know. No, I can't. That just seems like bad, like future.
Bad vibes.
Like you're willingly bringing
wrong?
in somebody with baggage who's also old. I don't know. It doesn't seem like you're coming out on the better end of that. Additionally, another trade rumor that was supposedly being thrown around, according to Darren Dreger, is that teams are beginning to call on Seth Jones, of all players. Seems like that $9.5 million AAV could possibly be on the move, although I would have to assume that retention would have to be included.
Yeah, any team to
no
take
way
on
it
that full
isn't.
contract that'd be crazy.
I know a team that could.
Don't put that on us, man. Don't put that devil magic on us.
Hypothetically, though, like it's if you got Chicago, I don't feel like they'll retain 50% because 50% would be like he's signed until 2029. I don't feel like they would retain for 4 years. But if you could get it down to like $7 million, would you do it?
I still think that might be a little bit much. Give me like if you can get it down to 6.5, I'd consider it.
It's an interesting conversation because he's also a guy that you kind of want to get full value out of him, and by doing so, you would have to sort of put him on the power play, and it's like you already have one of those players in Byram, who it's like is sort of teetering on the edge of Yeah, sometimes he's on the power play, but in a perfect world, Owen Power's quarterbacking the second unit. So it's like, how much money do you want to hand out to somebody that just scores at even strength? So I don't know. It would be. But who am I? Who am I to get picky about right-handed defenseman options when I have Henry Jokiharju playing with Owen Power for the like 10,000th minute in their careers?
God, just that man's playing with a boat anchor.
I can't do it anymore, man. Cannot do it. Jesse, you have fun memories of Seth Jones, right?
A few. Yeah.
From the old Columbus days.
Oh, Columbus.
All right, moving on. John Klingberg has come out of what I thought, I just kind of rolled him off as retired forever, but out of nowhere, some smoke began to pick up about him signing with teams, and there were like 4 or 5 teams interested, and he picked the Edmonton Oilers 1-year deal. And it's yet another 2010 star. He can join Jeff Skinner, Corey Perry, and now is John Klingberg added to the cupboard of Edmonton washed up 2010 stars. Interesting signing nonetheless.
The old man team. Yeah, I don't even know what to make of it. I don't know. I don't really know what direction the Oilers were going there. I mean, didn't they immediately just put him on IR
I
as
think
soon as he got there?
yeah, because I think they waived Derek Ryan like 24 hours later, so they were just trying to buy themselves some time. But yeah, it's interesting. You know, a guy with it was hip surgery I think he got, so especially at his age, it's going to be interesting to see. I feel like the chances of him returning to form are probably close to none.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna,
sure
didn't
about it?
his time in Toronto didn't end really well, right?
No, it was when did he play like 4 or 5 games, and I saw like Jay Fresh threw a clip. It was like his last game in Toronto, and it was like his last. It's just him just on autopilot in the defensive zone. Very funny stuff.
I remember he wasn't really a huge star in Toronto, so it's
No.
Edmonton picking him up doesn't really do anything for me.
Well, there's another aging superstar with hip surgery that is doing pretty well for himself over in you know who I'm talking about. We don't have to beat around the bush here.
Anyways, sticking with the Oilers, so we can kind of get into like the meat of the NHL discourse over the past 72 hours: the Connor McDavid and Tyler Myers suspensions. So the Edmonton Oilers, Vancouver Canucks, obviously Pacific Division rivals, fighting for the divisional spots in that division, and they had a matchup on Hockey Night in Canada. And in the closing seconds of that game, Connor McDavid gets tied up with Connor Garland, and Garland is just he's kind of doing everything he can to keep McDavid out of the play as time is winding down and the Oilers are trying to tie it. And you can tell it's frustrating. Like McDavid's a non-factor in the last 10 seconds of the game, and the ref doesn't make a call. But McDavid proceeds to get up, skate towards Connor Garland, and cross-check him in the face. And that obviously was pretty notable. You don't see that kind of frustration from McDavid very often. And then while that the ensuing scrum was going on, Tyler Myers and Evan Bouchard were getting into it, and Tyler Myers would also cross-check somebody in the face, that being Evan Bouchard. So we found out in the subsequent days that both were given 3-game suspensions, and what I think is a pretty normal situation has turned into a broader scope conversation about the sport, about how the NHL doesn't protect its stars, and that Connor McDavid is somehow a victim in all of this. I'm at a loss for words with. I genuinely do not understand where Oilers fans and Oilers media are coming from on this.
Oh, so you're
Just
telling me that he should be above the standard? Is
I
that what
don't
you're
understand.
saying? Like he should get special
It's
treatment?
not like he got hurt. It's not like he got hurt. Draisaitl came over and cross-checked Garland in the face. Like, what do you mean not protecting your stars? I think it was Jay Fresh came out with it like a day later. Or somebody did. Like Connor McDavid leads all like NHLers in penalty war since like 2016, like bar none. Like the second player under, it's not even close. He draws more penalties than anybody in the league.
The
And
disrespect to Tyler Myers too, not calling him a superstar. Also, called a trophy winner.
I just don't
Yeah.
understand. Like it's like the Oilers released a statement tonight that they're about their displeasure over the suspension. What?
It makes no sense, dude. Like we've seen players get much we've seen players get much less. I mean, or what's the word? Much more for much
look,
less.
we watched this play out in the Heritage Classic 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Austin Matthews cross-checked Rasmus Dahlin in the side of the head.
Yeah, and he got a game for that.
Yeah,
It's like
I think he
just
got 2
because
for that.
just because he's the greatest hockey player on the planet means he could do whatever he wants, and he doesn't need to get suspended. And it's if he does, it's considered not protecting your star players. Give me
Well,
a break.
exactly, and it's
Give me a
like
break.
not protecting your stars. Like what is the last major NHL star injury?
From what? Like something something that could have been
Kucherov?
preventable.
Yeah, like a penalty that took a player out for months on end.
Vlad Sobotka
I was
comes
gonna
right to
say
mind.
Sabotka.
But I can't think of one. I'm trying to think over the last decade, like the Crosby concussion comes to mind, in the Winter Classic.
Maybe the man. Well, I was gonna say the Brandon Manning when
Connor
he took
McDavid.
McDavid down in his rookie
But that was like
year.
2016, and
Yeah, and it wasn't even like egregious. It was just kind of like
I remember
puck battling.
when Mike Matheson was in Florida. I remember he took out Pedersen in his rookie season. Dahlin got elbowed by Chernak the 1 year. That one was pretty. But even then, like, it's like Dahlin's a sophomore. He's not really like one of the top players in the sport by then. I don't know. I can't really think of any like major injuries, and I could be forgetting one, and maybe it's a really obvious one, but just none come to mind, and it just feels like the NHL just never. This has never been a problem ever. That like, since the lockout, they've been protecting their stars incredibly well. I mean,
Nicholas Hjalmarsson boarding Jason Pominville.
who was the
OGs
one-
remember. OGs remember that one.
Wasn't it Ovechkin who boarded? He boarded Briere the one time pretty bad.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he did.
I'm gonna have to go try and find that one in the archives.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like Briere is like a case study of like how the NHL protected its players. Like he just took off with the new post-lockout rules back then. But yeah, I don't know. I think that NHL players have been more than protected, and I just think like listen to this statement that they released. The Oilers organization is disappointed, and we share in our fans' frustration over the 3-game suspension of Captain Connor McDavid. We support him through this process, and the organization and our fans look forward to having him back in the lineup for Seattle next week.
Oh my God, that's almost as worse as we know you are disappointed and we don't have any excuse. Whatever the Tampa Bay Lightning put out 5 years, that's almost as bad as that.
Yeah.
Like Jesus.
We have no words, and we know you don't want to hear.
Yeah,
them.
like give me a break.
They're disappointed and they share their frustration, but it's also funny that they're not appealing it because they know it cross-check somebody in the face. It's just such a dumb conversation. I can't believe it's dominated the discourse over the past few days.
Well, do you think the Rangers would be doing the same thing if Rempe did that? It'd probably be worse than 3 games too.
Yeah.
But I know
Ooh,
prior history. Has
The
something to do
Rangers
with
did
that,
probably
but-
bring up a good example, wasn't it? When Tom Wilson slammed Panarin's head on the ice. Wasn't that a thing? Was that it? Tom Wilson and Panarin? Remember, like Panarin's helmet got ripped off or something? That's like
I
the
don't
only
remember that.
example I can think of. Now you're not. Now you're making me want to go back and look for it.
We're gonna have to pull the tape.
I could have sworn that's. Yeah, so it was Tom
I mean,
Wilson.
it sounds like something that would have happened. Like I believe you. I just don't remember it.
Well, that was when remember Wilson went to the penalty box and put his arms up.
Oh
and
yeah,
made
yeah.
Oh, that was
face.
that was that?
Yeah. That was I think that was the bubble season. I think that's what it was. So.
Oh no wonder we don't remember that.
Yeah. That's like the only one I can think of, and I don't know. Even then, it's sort of like it's a one-time thing. Like, when has that ever happened since? So I don't know. That's my take on the whole thing.
It's the right take. I agree.
Thanks, man. All that matters is McDavid is now out of the lineup versus the Sabres on
Thank
Saturday.
God.
So
And it's all right. No,
he's scared. He's scared. We lock that guy
we
down.
lock that guy down
He's-
every time. That was the deal when we didn't get him in the lottery. He could never cook us. And I think he's got the least amount of points against us than
I think it's us
any
and
other
the
team.
Kraken. It might be the. Is it the Kraken or is he?
Oh,
It's us and somebody. I think his point per game might be slightly higher against us, but
we got them beat on sample size.
yeah, quantity of points at stuff with the Sabres. So
I wasn't even scared of him.
all right, that's gonna do it for NHL talk today. Before we get off, Jesse, I will give you the floor.
All right, so I know me and Jonah really enjoyed our blind rankings we did last episode, so I figured I would bring one of my own today, so Christian can participate. And the one that I've thrown together, I have 6. You're going to be blind ranking 6 players, and the category is all guys that are currently listed as second line forwards on their respective teams on daily face-off. So that's the criteria for the guys you'll be ranking today, and it's 1 through 6, just a reminder.
All right, bring it on. Let's do it.
So your first guy is from the Detroit Red Wings, and it's Patrick Kane.
Oh my god,
Oh man. Dude,
is Patrick Kane a second line player?
is he even a second? He's not even a center, is he?
Well, I think it's just anybody on the second line.
It's
He's definitely
it's
not
just a
center.
player. It could be.
Yeah.
Oh,
Could
okay.
be
I don't think
anybody.
there.
Yeah,
There's
Patrick Kane
no
is
centers on here actually,
Patrick
so it's all
Kane
wingers.
playing center. I don't even want to imagine that.
That would be a defensive, not even a black hole. Whatever worse than a black. There's nothing worse than a black hole. But isn't there an astronomical
like a
a white
wormhole.
hole or a
Wormhole.
wormhole?
A white hole.
There is such thing as a
There's
white
a
hole.
white hole.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's like antimatter or something.
Back to Patrick Kane, though.
Okay, so we have to go off of this season, I assume, right?
It's got to come on. What are we doing here? It's got it's got to be this season, but come on.
I mean, he's been
All
putting
the
up
shit talk
points.
that we do on here.
I really feel like there might be one guy worse. We should maybe leave open that 6th spot. I'd be fine putting him at 5, but I feel like there might be someone that's worse who's got like no points this year. Because how many points does Patrick Kane have this season? He's got to have like 30, right?
He's leading the league since like Christmas or something.
Yeah, you can't put him at 6.
But that's like 10 or 12 games.
You
He's probably
can't put
got
him at 6.
he's probably got like 26, 27, 28 points in 40
Okay.
something games.
So
Fine.
obviously,
I can come down to 5, but no
I-
further. He is not
Okay.
getting ranked above 5.
I'll compromise with you there. We'll put him at 5. I do think there could be someone who's just like way worse.
Okay.
So we're going 5?
We'll go 5.
We'll go 5 for Patrick Kane.
Okay. Patrick Kane at 5. The second player comes from the Dallas Stars, and it's Wyatt Johnston.
Okay, all right. I'm
all
feeling
right.
top 3 here.
Yeah. Like how many? I feel like 3 sells him short. But,
But he's also young.
He very well could be the best player on this list.
Ah, man. I mean, yes, he's good. There could be more established guys out there yet to be named. Not knocking him. I don't want to go 1 here. I'm thinking either 2 or 3.
Yeah, I feel like it's a coin toss for 2 or 3.
Man, I kind of want to say 3. I really want to leave those
I can
ones
live
and
with
twos opens.
3. I can live with 3, but there's a good chance that ages very badly.
Okay. No, you're right. And
No, we can-
Patrick
no.
Kane at 5 could age badly too.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay. I think we'll
All
go
right,
3.
We'll go 3. We'll go 3.
3 for Wyatt Johnston.
Wyatt Johnston. The third player comes from the Vegas Golden Knights. It's Victor Olofsson.
Is he worse than Patrick Kane at this point in his career? He's been good this year. He's been good.
He's been good this year.
Good. This is evil, bro.
I can't knock. I don't know if I can
This
knock my
order is
king here.
crazy, man.
I don't think he's worse.
The random order of these players, it just worked out perfectly.
I don't think he's worse than Patrick Kane.
We got the 4 open.
But it's like,
we got
is
the 4.
But like, somebody's gonna come up and they're gonna be ranked 5, who it's like they're definitely not worse than Olofsson and Kane.
I don't know, man. I'm either between 4 or 6, but
we could just call him a Jack Eichel merchant and just call it a day.
I don't know, man. I don't want to put my king down at 6, bro. So
that's your king?
Theoretically, we're thinking about second line players here. Is he even qualified? Like, I mean, I guess according to the Daily Faceoff, he does.
Yeah.
But
I think we got to play it safe.
you want to put him at 6?
I think we got to put him at 6.
Okay. All right, we'll put him at 6.
Locking in 6?
Yeah. We Jack
Okay.
Eichel merchant, I guess, as
he's
he's
been
always
good
been.
He's been good this year. It's
Yeah.
just, I would feel a lot better if Kane was at 6 and Olofsson was at 5.
Nah, I
Okay,
don't.
so just to halfway recap here, we have Wyatt Johnston at 3, Patrick Kane at 5, and Victor Olofsson at 6.
All right, we got the 1, 2, and the 4 open.
1, 2, and the 4 are available. Your 4th player comes from your very own Buffalo Sabres, JJ Peterka.
Okay. He's not
better than
Wyatt
He's
Johnson.
not better than Wyatt Johnson.
You got to put him at 4.
He's at 4. He is at 4.
You got to put him at 4.
Is that locked in right away?
We have to, man. It's
We may have sold this list.
If
We
this
got
was like-
1 and 2 open.
if this was like 2 weeks into the season, maybe I would
Oh,
make the case.
no.
But yeah,
We may have-
This is not
so we
good.
got
Fumbled
one.
I
list.
knew it, bro. I knew we should put Johnson.
I
at
could already
2.
see the look on his face.
Oh
We
my
fumbled
God.
this list.
No, no.
We just need
So
one good
Peterka
player to
at
save
4.
it. One good player to save it.
And my opinion, you got that. In the 5th spot, we've got Tampa Bay's own Brandon Hagel.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
That could be an easy 1 right there.
Do we go 1? Do we take the gamble?
Who do we think?
Is he still on pace for over 100 points?
If not, he's in the 90s somewhere. But
We got to
I
go
th-
1.
I think
How many
1.
second liners are on pace? Yeah, we got to go 1.
It's easy. That's an easy 1.
I just
This could be a good list.
Brandon
we may have
Hagel.
cooked.
there's
at 1.
potential.
There's potential here.
As long as
Okay,
he doesn't throw like
so-
Jack Quinn on the list here, we're looking good.
So 1 player left, and it's Otto in the 2nd spot for you. And he's from the Edmonton Oilers, and it's Jeff Skinner.
Oh, we sold it. No, we sold it.
I love my King Jeff Skinner.
If we
but
put Wyatt Johnston at 2, this would be a perfect list. It would be a perfect list.
You guys almost had
we
it.
almost
Almost
had
had it.
Almost
It's
had it.
definitely different being on the other side, knowing what's coming, and you guys are like, oh, like no one's gonna be worse than
Damn it.
Payne, right?
Why did Jeff have to have such a bad season? He was
I was gonna say, he might be.
fine last year.
He's probably last on this list. Like
I
he
think
is your
so.
6.
Yeah, I think you just shift everyone up and you put him at 6.
Yeah. That's
So to recap here, at 1 we have Brandon Hagel, 2 Jeff Skinner, 3 Wyatt Johnston, 4 JJ Peterka, 5 Patrick Kane, and 6 Victor Olofsson.
It's not bad though. The blind rankings are tough, and I think we did an okay job. We were right in it up until the end.
One. It came
It
down
came down
to
to
the
the
last
last
one. All right, that
I
was
think
evil.
just
I
one
hate
shift
you,
there.
but whatever. I'm liking these
Yeah,
blind
I
rankings.
had a list of like 12 guys. I'm like, how am I gonna narrow this down? Because I wanted to just do 12. I was like, we can't do that. But
So you didn't do it yourself by chance? You didn't put
No,
yourself through it?
I was thinking like maybe I'll like do a random wheel and like have like the 12 guys and just have like 6 be random. But I was like, I think I can narrow it down to 6. So that's what we ended up with.
Makes sense. All right. So, quick little episode, although probably still not quick for some people's liking, but shorter than most. And we're going to log off here before the Sabres do kick off their game against the Vancouver Canucks. So hopefully that game goes well. And I mean, Christian, I hope you get some good sleep.
I'm gonna get
I
some
know
great shut eye tonight, guys.
I know I won't because I will be up watching it. So hopefully it goes well for my sake. The Sabres are back in action Thursday night against the Calgary Flames. And then on Saturday afternoon, they play the Connor McDavid-less Edmonton Oilers. That might be the next two games we talk to after. I mean, usually we record on Sundays, but there's kind of something big going down on Sundays, so I don't think we'll be talking to you then.
Dude, I'm so immediately after the game ended, I couldn't even like I maybe was happy for like half an hour and then I immediately started sweating again. Just about they can't lose, man.
I
They
don't know, like
can't do
I
it
kind of feel like
again.
I sort of feel like they're playing with like I don't want to call it house money. It's definitely not house money, but it's sort of like it's like when Brady won his sixth or seventh Super. It's like what's another Super Bowl? Like who cares?
Right,
Like I'll
yeah.
live. The narratives don't change. Um, I don't know. It's not like losing to Lamar would have been so much
Tough.
worse than losing to
Yeah.
Mahomes again. So that's how I
And
feel.
you're facing the refs too. So
Yeah, that too. So
As long as it's not Clay Martin reffing, we should be in for something, but I like the way that's put. That made me
yeah,
feel a little bit better.
yeah.
The narratives don't change. Who cares?
It is
Yeah,
what it
I
is.
just hate Travis Kelce so much. I hate him more than Mahomes.
I hate his girlfriend.
That's what makes it worse. It makes it more insufferable. And I'm sure she's a nice lady. It's just insufferable for some reason.
All right. Obviously the Bills are in action against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's Allen versus Mahomes 4. The Bills. I mean, they got to win this time, right? The Bills have never lost 4 consecutive meaningful playoff games in a row, right?
No, not that I could
Well,
as far
remember.
as I can remember, yeah.
No, not that I've been alive for. So hopefully things go their way and stay tuned. Our friends over at the Buffalo Sports Talk podcast, they are recording their recap of Sunday night's game tomorrow and then obviously previewing Sunday's game. So stay tuned for that. They do amazing stuff. But yeah, other than that, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at the Sabre Report. Also on Instagram, TikTok again, and also on YouTube at the Sabre Report. If you want updates for the pod, you can follow us at the Sabre Report. Other than that, if you guys don't have anything left to say before we get off here, as always, go Sabres.
Go Bills.
Go Bills and Sabres.